When will it end? It will never end. This is what they call infinite regression. But the experience is, all right, let it be infinite regression. Let it be so. I cannot say that because you see me. So since there is conclusive knowledge, necessarily, I must necessarily so conclude what? That I exist not because of any means of knowledge. Therefore, I is something doesn't require a means of knowledge as an object does. An object exists for you because there is a means of knowledge, but then I exist not through a means of knowledge. I exist because I cannot. I exist because I exist. There is no because. There is no because there because I exist. Sometimes, through knowing things I exist. Sometimes, without knowing things also I exist. When I go to sleep, I don't know anything. But still I exist all right. And therefore, knowing things keep on changing, I exist. Things keep on changing. Varieties of objects, they keep on changing. But I exist. In all, one thing if I say, that if there is anything that doesn't require a means of knowledge for its existence, that is you, that is I. Okay? Therefore, we should be able to divide for the time being. Divide means understand in this differently. That is all the division here. We understand things differently. The self is existent not because of a means of knowledge, and therefore I can use a very, very safe word here to just show the existence of I as self what? The self exists because it is self-existent. The self exists because it is self-existent. If there is anything in the world which is self-existent, it is what? The self. Okay? If there is anything self-existent in the world, it is just the self. Nothing else is self-existent. Therefore, I am self-existent. Now you can say, I am, when you say, it is a self-existent fact. It is not because Swami says that you exist. You don't require Vedanta to tell that you exist. All this teaching is not necessary for you to know that I exist. Therefore, I is self-existent. Then what is Vedanta is a pramana for, we will see later. That I exist is very clear to me. I require no means of knowledge. I am self-existent. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? This is the basis of all the teaching. There is no, you cannot say I don't exist. You cannot say I require a means of knowledge for me to know that I exist. This is a very self-evident fact. Therefore, I am self-existent. And everything else, therefore, I will say this is self-existent, and everything else is known to be existent. Okay? One is self-existent, the other is known to be existent. Known to be existent. Now, here you will get a very clear picture. of our own approaches in life. Now, anything that is known to be existent, being known to be existent, is doubtfully taken by you. You are not sure. In fact, anything you come to know as an existent thing by a means of knowledge is open for further probe, and your conclusions are revisable, and you generally keep your mind open. You doubt. You always doubt. Whether did you lock the door? Doubt. Whether this is there? Doubt. Is this object? This is the definition of the object? Doubt. How did we develop this doubt? Well, because whether you were born in this century, so you are born this century, suppose, so there is this, let us put the time back, clock back. We are born, now we are all Stone Age people, let us say. Now, when you start your life, as a child born in a Stone Age, you are going to look at the sky, you are going to see the stars, you are going to see the sun rising, you are going to see the sun rising and traveling, going to the west. And so there is a direction. Therefore, whatever name you call it, there is a place. Every day it rises in the same place, the same direction. It travels and got lost, and again comes back in the same direction. Therefore, you have such a thing called east, such a thing called west. Whether you have language or not, you look for the sun in the same direction. Thus, we conclude, when you see daily, that is perception. So once there is perception, and constantly the perception is the sun rising in the eastern sky, in the same direction you find, therefore you conclude the sun rises. This was in the Stone Age. Okay? Now, in this age, you are born, you are of this age, we have figured everything out, lot of things we have figured out. Now, how are you going to conclude? As a child, when you open, as you grow up, you see the sun rising. Then there is such a place called the direction you come to know east. The sun rises in the eastern sky and travels to the west. I do not know anything else. I conclude the sun rises and sets and travels in between. One good thing about him is he always comes before I wake up or before I get up. And thus you have to conclude that the sun is rising in the eastern sky, the sun rises and travels. You see the sky, the space seems to come to an end there. That seems to be the ceiling. Necessarily you are going to conclude that there is a sky ceiling. Space has a limit. And you find in the night there are stars. You will conclude the stars appear in the night, disappear during the day. Some conclusion you have to make. And again, you have to say, you have to think they are very small. And you think there is a sun in the night. who is called Moon. And that poor fellow is losing himself and again comes back. It is something like dieting, you know. So, the dieting is like this. And so you take some of those appetite killers and then you diet and diet and diet and you go on thinning every day. Then you give up, you go on putting on. Then again, this is what many people live their lives like this. And so for some time you put on, sometimes you get rid of. For fortnight this way. This is what they call the moon. Anyway, we have some notions about the moon. Many people made stories about the moon. I see the earth flat, I will take it as flat. Whether you are born in this century or in any century, every child has to conclude the earth flat. First time when I was told in the class, the earth is not flat, I was shocked. I was shocked. I didn't understand how earth is not flat. It is a blessed thing, is flat all over. How can you say it is not flat? And especially, and again, so this man, my teacher, school teacher, brought a globe. And he says, India is here. And I can never understand. India is here, suppose it is a globe, will we not be slipping away? Suppose you go to the edge of the globe, the people will be falling down. Then what about the fellows who are down below? And so he also turns, America is here. Then how, upside down, how the people stand like that there? I can't understand this at all. Then again he turned the globe, oh my God, it was a great shock for me. I could never figure out that this is possible until I saw an ant on a football. Really, I figured it all out. Then an ant, so moving on the football, finds the whole football as flat only. Oh, I knew that I am an ant on this earth, and therefore that should be. Well, that takes a long time. There's things that I thought as correct, very definite and certain, for I see with my own eyes. I see the rising sun, and I am told to salute the sun. I was told when I was young as a child, and my mother used to ask me, get up! Before the sun rises, I have to get up. And then I have to bathe, and afterwards offer my salutations, namaskar to sun. Then later, I should have my coffee. And they used to, this is a daily thing you have to do. If you don't get up, you get a bucket of water on your head. And so you have to get up, otherwise cold water in the morning. And so you don't like that, and so you have to get up. There is no way you have to get up. Like this, the sun has already come. Means sun is coming and going. This was all very real. And I was completely beaten. And I came to know the sun does not rise in the eastern sky. One great disappointment. It's nice to know, but then I had to reshuffle my ideas. That there is no such thing as ceiling for the space. I have to reshuffle my ideas. That there are no simple diamonds in the sky keep on twinkling at you. And again, there are no diamonds. There are suns, like our sun, and they are also so constant, and they are bigger than, some of them bigger than our sun. The sun is not that small. Oh, it can accommodate so many globes, earths. Like that when I was told, well, so it was difficult to swallow, but then that was considered knowledge, taught in the school very seriously, with a school teacher whose head seems to have so much of knowledge. So at that, the village school master, you must have read, I don't know, the goldsmiths. So village school master, such a small head, so much of knowledge. I always wondered at the immensity of knowledge of the school teacher, He goes on and on and on and on, so much knowledge he has got. How did he push all this into this head? So that was all wonder at the time. And thus I had to reshuffle my ideas. I always thought if my hands are washed, they are always clean. Even today in India they think so. Water is God there. And therefore, once the hands are washed, the floor is washed, everything is spick and span. Spick and span. That's what the people think, everything is clean. But then the water itself can have bugs. And so, until I saw a microscope, I always thought my hands were clean. Once I saw the microscope, afterwards I don't want to see my hand through the microscope. For nobody wants every day before eating, if you have to see the microscope and eat, my God, nobody will eat it. Yeah. So even your solid or whatever, you put it in the microscope and see and then eat, nobody will eat. You will always see something wriggling there. You can never eat. Well, therefore, so this, until I knew, I was very certain everything was clean. When I knew that, I found that my ideas are all wrong. Thus, in day-to-day life, the more I study, the more I reshuffle. In fact, the most informed person is one who had completely reshuffled his ideas. And more informed he is, less certain he is. Only fanatics are very certain. There are scientific fanatics too. And so they are certain. And otherwise nobody. Informed person becomes more and more uncertain. That is how I grow up, and naturally therefore, anything that is known to be existent is always doubted by me. Nobody takes anything for granted. Your word is doubted, your sentence is doubted, whether this is the meaning or some other meaning. An action is doubted, whether it will produce the result or it won't. And a medicine is doubted, whether it is a medicine or a disease. The food is doubted because nobody knows this is food, this is no food. One culture says, this is no food. You say everything, you start with tomatoes, end with tomatoes. Everything tomato. All tomato ketchup, tomato sauce, tomato this, tomato that, anywhere some tomato sandwich. Everywhere you find tomatoes, tomatoes. And there is one fellow who says tomatoes, they are not meant for your stomach. There is a fellow who says that. And he says tomatoes are the fruit, this is the one thing that the human body is not meant for.